Mazda RX-7. So that's actually Scott Merrick in the yellow Mazda RX-7. And in the black RX-7 that's coming to grid right now, the number 38 is Ian Johnson. So look at this, an all Japanese manufacturer grid here for the groups 1, 3, and 8. Some beautiful cars. Loving these rotary engine RX-7s. So thank you so much. Ian Johnson giving me the thumbs up. So this should be pretty good. Now, Jonathan, I'm going to throw back up to you because they're about to get the 3-5 minutes here on the grid. And I'm going to come up and join you. So, again, if you're joining us on Speed Tour TV, leave us some comments. Tell us what we're getting right. Tell us what we're getting wrong. And I'm going to throw it up to you. I'll be there in just a second, Jonathan.
Great stuff, Ben. And yes, the only comment we've had so far is an umbrella, and he's quite right, is H, saying, yeah, it is umbrella weather, as you can see, and thank you to all our SVRA pundits and all our car entries to get out and entertain you folks on our Speed Tour TV. If you're watching on our live stream, you can see conditions very different than they were yesterday, and sitting water around the track, especially at the Paul Newman Straight. And you can see quite a breeze. We're expecting more rain later, but certainly not enough to dissuade anybody from going out. Cloud is very low, as you can see, but it's going to make it very interesting. These Miatas kind of revel in these sort of conditions. And Lime Rock at 1.5 miles round, and quite a simple layout, but perfect for these Miatas. And it's almost as though the Skip Barber School, which is also based here, and Skip Barber now, the tower named after him, it seems somewhat appropriate. This is the perfect venue, and this is the kind of conditions where you really learn your racecraft if you don't have it already. But most of these drivers, bags of experience, and as Ben pointed out, mostly Miatas, mostly Japanese. In fact, all Japanese manufacturers at the moment. So they're the hardy ones going out for this, our Group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5B, and 8. So they go out behind the pace car, get an idea for the conditions. As you can see, some with sticker tires, so they'll just be weaving to try to get some heat into those tires, and obviously same with the brakes. And let's take a look at the conditions going into the Mission Foods Turn 1 Big Bend, which goes basically round to the right and then dives back to the left before heading down the Paul Newman Straight. So tricky part of the track, but the most obvious place for an overtake as well into Turn 1 on the inside or outside, because if you can make it stick around the outside, you then have the inside line for the second part of this complex. Well, Ben joins me in the booth now, and I don't know where he got, but it's pretty nasty out there. But like you say, it was nice to see everybody showing up bit by bit and getting out there on a Monday morning as we welcome you to our Memorial Day Classic. And it has been a classic over the years in Lime Rock, because Memorial Weekend is synonymous with this Lime Rock. In fact, it kicks off the major events series at Lime Rock. There's always action of some sort going on here at Lime Rock, but this is the first major event. We'll be coming back here again with the Speed Tour later in the year, and I know you're looking forward to this, the All-Star event coming up in July.
Yeah, let me just run through that because this is going to be unbelievable. July 19th through the 20th. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We've got Greg Biffle, Jeff Brabham, Ron Fellows, Davey Hamilton, Ron Hornaday, Davey Jones, Bobby Labonte, Pippa Mann, Paul Menard, Ryan Newman, Max Pappas, Boris Said,
wow,
Ken Schrader, Mike Skinner, Scott Speed, Danny Sullivan, and even more, and the IROC race. So it is going to be a blast, July 19th through the 20th. But, Jonathan, I'm going to give this to you as these Japanese manufactured cars come down and take the green flag.
Yep, they're coming down the hill past my good friend Lake, who probably is in his own lake right now because it's pretty wet out there. But he's going to stay steady for us as we look down the main straight. In a moment, that car will peel off, and he does so. And it is getting ready for our feature race 1 of the day. It's Group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5B, and 8. Mostly Miatas, though. And let's see who's got the stomach for these wet conditions. Always tricky. You've got to kind of tiptoe. It's like being on ice. Into the first corner they go then.
Look at that. There is the number 47. We were talking about him earlier today. That's Sam Every, and I'm not sure why Sam Every dropped way back in that 280Z, but I think just with the power that car has, he's just trying to see what the conditions are. They only got one pace lap, but the Miata's out to the front, Jonathan.
Yep, and Keith Romano says he grew up here at this track and has done a bunch of miles here and pit crewed for a few years with the Spec Miatas. So feel free, Keith, to jump in and give us some thoughts on the Miatas and how you set them up for the wet here in Lime Rock, and especially this very light up the hill turn, which is the Cube 3 Architecture West Bend before they dive down the Bennett Bridge Hall downhill past my good man Joe, and down the hill they go.
But you can see there, that's John Rodat there in second place in that number 63, and in that Patrick Daly, the one out front, is a part of the Lime Rock Drivers Club, which means he probably has a ton of experience here racing in all different conditions. Something I meant to ask them, you see that little parking light there under the left headlight?
Yeah.
I noticed that they're using that as an intake. Not sure, maybe we've got some Miata experts to tell us what the advantage is there or what they're doing with that blank space. But look at this, two RX-7s side by side with their wipers furiously going.
Yeah, and the sort of bigger classic is sort of running at the back at the moment. That's the 47. And I say the bigger classic, it's just a little bit older than some of the others. That's Sam Avery in that 280Z in the all green. Did a 103.2 in the dry. And, of course, when they practiced and qualified, it was dry. Beautiful Datsun that.
But, you know, I appreciate the drivers driving to their comfort level in this race because the conditions have changed drastically just in the last 30 minutes. The rain really, really came down, making for a green track, and now it's just kind of sprinkling, but the water is still there, as we can see on the track.
Yeah, well, I've got Keith Roman. I've put him to work. He says it helps the air intake right behind the blank.
See, I love having all of these. Yeah, thank you, Keith Romano.
So the other question was, where can you find the group descriptions? And that's your bailiwick, isn't it? But basically, you can just go to the SVRA website.
Yeah,
right?
SVRA.com. These are basically group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B, and 8 are basically small to medium bore production cars that run similar lap times around the track.
Wow,
yeah.
turn one, look how wet it's getting. So these guys are putting on a brave job here, and I hope you, the fans, appreciate the show they're putting on. I mean, you couldn't stop them coming up here. They've come all the way to Lime Rock. They're gonna get their track time, come hell or high water, quite literally.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the one that we're missing is Rich Malumian Jr., which I totally understand because he's in a really nice cherry Austin Healey 100/4.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that.
So,
is it 100/4? Yeah,
I would say he would be crazy to come out there.
Is this
in
an
that car
open top
with
car?
This. Yeah. And just those cars have just really, really gone up in value, and this is just an absolute pristine car.
That would probably be late 50s.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. I looked it up this morning, and I was saying, it's 4-speed manual gearbox, inline front engine, 4-cylinder, obviously, and it would have been a beautiful thing to see. But we've seen it here in action before.
Yeah. Look at that Rodat going way down here on the Bennett Bridge Hall downhill.
Getting some drive.
He is getting some drive. So let's see if he can carry that momentum behind Patrick Daly. Now, usually these cars like to drive in a train and draft each other, but then you lose your vision. But Rodat ducking out to the outside at Mission Foods turn 1.
Well, like I mentioned, if you can make it round the outside, he's not going to do it this lap. But one idea is trouble is the conditions are such that it's really hard to be out there because there's a lot of sitting water. But like I said, if you hang yourself out on the outside and keep your foot in, as you can see, the next is a left-hander, so you could potentially have the advantage going into the next left-hander. But in these conditions, just getting round is enough, I think.
And Don Moody's right. Don Moody just said, well, the Datsun doesn't have wipers. And you're right, Don. You can see.
Oh, yes,
so we've got some
right.
eagle-eyed viewers out there, so thank you so much. Yeah.
Now, that can't be easy, coming down the hill from 6 to 7 without wipers.
Yeah, and it has the rain has increased even just since I was at the grid doing the grid walk. So you can see the wipers furiously going there as John Rodat ducking out here at the Q3 turn.
He's trying to stay out of the spray for one, and also obviously it looks as though he's a little bit quicker than the leader. Now let's see what he does here. If he tucks himself up behind.
He's running a rain line.
Yeah,
he's finding grip where the normal racing line gets polished throughout the years by the tires, and so you can find more grip in the rain if you kind of run like the counter racing line, and I think that's what Rodat's doing.
Well, he was trying to have another look around the outside. Here's the 77 of Mindell. You say he only lives 1,000 yards from the track. That's pretty impressive.
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
That's crazy, but his wipers are no longer working. You can see
well,
that.
he better go home and get some more.
Yeah, he's falling back. Yeah, he might just be able to just jog home to his garage, grab a new wiper motor. It looks like it is the wiper motor that's not working right now.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you could say he's being stoic and just doesn't want to use them, but I don't believe that. If you've got them, use them.
Yeah.
In these conditions, absolutely.
Yeah, and so sometimes it's raining such that just Rain-X alone will clear the windshield.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be the case right now. It seems like it's raining now that you need actual wipers.
Well, at the front, Patrick Daly, who was pole, continues at the front, but Rodat is all over the back of him, John Rodat, and then Darren Berger still third. We've been looking at Gregory Mendel in the 77, the all-white. He's in sixth at the moment, just ahead of Sam Avery. Here come the leaders again, down the hill, the Brennett Bridge Hall downhill and into turn 7 and onto the Sam Posey straight. Great to have Sam Posey here because yesterday we dedicated the tower that we're sat in right now to Skip Barber. After his 4 decades of duty, you will say, 88 years of age and still going strong. But a great guy, and some would say that Lime Rock potentially would not exist today if it weren't for the work of the Skip Barber School and, more importantly, Skip Barber himself.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's cool. Also, just Sam Posey, a lot of people don't know this, designed a lot of the buildings on the complex, too. So that was really cool. We could see Darren Berger there. Third place in the Miatas, and that number 84 just kind of running behind the Miatas. But this is the battle here with Rodat and Daly. And Rodat, I feel like, may have a little bit of a faster car, but like we've seen in everything else, it's just can he get around?
Well, that's the beauty of, or if you like, the jeopardy of Lime Rock. It's a really tricky, it's a very simple layout when you look at it on a track map. And you think, oh, I got this. But then when you try to go fast or you try to overtake, there really isn't. You know, you can try any which way. And there are a few tricks as you talk to some of the veterans, but basically there's one line round here and the obvious overtake is on the inside here. But as you can see, doing a good job, Daly using the middle of the road as he is allowed to do, of course, and just basically defending so that the 63 can't go up the inside and has to wait again. As third place, the 84 of Berger. Going good. Darren Berger, there he is.
But Berger, you know, with what's happening and with the weather, may be in the catbird seat with anything that could happen up front.
Good point.
Now, we're getting blamed by Alpha Draco that what's with all the rain during all the races this weekend is the commentator's curse.
Oh, well, that would be Ben Sissel. Answers on a postcard. Ben Sissel, 49 Avery Street, Tennessee.
Maybe. Well, there is Patrick Daly. That's the biggest gap we've seen. So through that left-hander, and the Newman Straight now has been able to gap Rodat pretty well here.
That's a great name, Rodat. I love it. So small group of entries. Obviously, it's Memorial Weekend, and so on the one hand, it's the biggest weekend in motorsport. On the other hand, it's also a 3-day weekend, so a lot of the SVRA regulars often use this time to be with their families as well. So much historic racing. I mean, you pretty much do most of the events, Ben. I mean, historic racing has never been more popular, has it?
Yeah, it's really growing. It's great to see. And then the fact that, like, having Miatas being introduced, and that's all part of Tony Perella and John Doonan just a few years ago with the Mazda Miata Heritage Cup, and then we're seeing a lot more like E30s and 280Zs and 240Zs. So it's really growing. I love these Mazda RX-7s with the rotary engines. So, you know, because time keeps marching on, you know, what becomes vintage keeps changing year after year. So this is really cool to see this group 1, 3, and 8 here as we go side by side.
You know, and a bit like the Porsche 911, the Miata's shape has not drastically changed over the years. So some of these cars are well over 25 years, but they could be, you know, 5 years old in terms of what the shape of the Miata still looks like.
Yeah. So here's our leaders.
We've got a bit of a gap now out front. He's broken the gap, and it's 1.1 seconds now, as you can see for yourself. Down the Posey Straight they come. Wipers on. Time running out. But still, the top 3 remain the same.
But it is kind of neat to see we've got the first 2 here in the Miatas.
Then in Group 8, we've got the first two with the RX-7s. Still running pretty closely. That's Ian Johnson and Scott Merrick with the RX-7s.
And I'll tell you, this is no mean feat with a sitting water on that. It's really like being on an ice rink. And even though the Miata's, not a big, powerful car, still, you put your foot down, you're going to get wheel spin because it's such a lightweight car.
Yeah, and it is still a rear wheel car.
Yep.
Rear wheel drive.
I went out in the wet in a Miata at Harris Hill in Texas and managed to actually spin on the straight. Well, I just put my foot down and round it went.
Yeah. You can see they get so light going up over that hill, coming into the Cube 3 architecture turn. West Bend, as they call it.
Great to hear from Bill Savage. Yes, thank you, vets. And it is a tradition, Memorial Weekend. SVRA and the Speed Tour here at Lime Rock. And long may it continue.
So that's Scott Merrick there in that yellow and black Mazda RX-7. But here are the leaders, and let's see if Rodat has anything for Patrick Daly. Now, I mentioned that Patrick Daly was on brand new Hoosier wets. Mm-hmm. And you can see there, looks like Berger's wipers. He's using the intermittent wipers now.
Yep. Well, actually, I'm looking out the window of the comms box. It's clearing, actually. I mean, you can't tell from the spray that's being thrown up. There's still a lot of water on the track itself, but in terms of conditions, it's improved dramatically in the last 5 so minutes. So it's going to be wet, but it's certainly going to be more intermittent when it comes to wipers. And here come your Datsuns.
Yeah, and appreciate what we just saw there from Scott Merrick, knowing the cars behind him and getting over for him. We appreciate that in this mixed class racing, and you can see the headlights giving the little wink there from the Miatas. I love that.
So about 10 minutes. We just got a question, how long are these races? Well, they're all about 20 minutes to half an hour. And we've got, just under 10 minutes left in this one. So there's still room for some action here. But I think just finishing this race in these conditions would be pretty impressive. But big gap now to Patrick Daly. He's managed to take it to 1.7 seconds. So very much in control of this race. And not easy in these conditions. Still third place man. He's getting under pressure now from Ian Johnson. He's taking the outside line, getting out of his spray. And just eases on by Ian Johnson in the Mazda RX-7.
Getting word from race control that Greg Meindl is pulled in. That was the one without the wipers. So he is pulled into pit lane and just kind of sitting there, is happy with his performance.
He could go back out again because the rain has kind of stopped now, but you still need the wipers because of the spray.
Yeah.
So no change at the front, but the gap has, as you can see, gone up to 1.7 seconds.
So Scontech is saying, shout out to the commentators. Well, thank you.
Well, we've got Keith Romano reckons that Rodat has cooked his tires, which with wet weather tires, they don't last as long. And you get to a point where if the conditions start to improve, the tires start to heat up and start to dilapidate a little bit. But I don't think we've got to that part. I think actually it's just Daly putting down the hammer.
Where'd the leader go?
Whoa!
There he is. Oh, we've got a change, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see if Patrick Daly, who went off there at Mission Foods Turn 1, can now come back. So now Rodat, it's all up to you. Let's see what John Rodat has. Anything for Patrick Daly, who we were just talking about went out in the brand new tires, but just went a little bit long there.
Yeah, so that's a big change.
So there is our new leader.
Yeah.
And then right behind him, that was the leader. So let's see what happens here. And then Berger seeing this. So our 1, 2, 3 are all inside of each other, Jonathan.
Wow, 7 minutes to go. And a new change then as Rodat leads the way. But as you can see, as he pops up the hill that is Q3 Architecture West Bend, the second place man is in hard pursuit now as they head down the Bennett Bridge Hall downhill and into turn 7, the last corner here at
now you're getting blamed for that by Chase Cavalier, saying you spoke too soon.
I did. Well, story of my life. Commentator's blight. Cross the line they come down the San Posi straight. And let's have a look at the gap. Well, was 4 seconds. It's come down dramatically. I think he's catching him quite quickly, actually. So this could be a good battle royal. We've got just over 6 minutes to go in this one. And we do it on timing rather than laps. Obviously, they're doing a lot slower laps than they were in qualifying.
Yeah, Bill Savage is saying the race is on now. Yeah, I agree, Bill. This has just gotten pretty interesting now, and now we're looking at all the scoring, and we'll see what kind of gaps they are. So you can see right here in the top left, just over 4-second gap behind Daly. But Daly,
I think it's less than that now.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's looking calm in there. You can see he's got a little tennis ball in his side vent. So there's Rodat, our leader.
Well, this is a hard angle to see just the distance, but now you can see, it's just, I would say it's just under 4 seconds now. So he is taking some time. I'll take a look at the lap times for you as they both cross the line this time. And we don't often really take too much notice of lap times, but certainly if Daly is going quicker than the leader, give us an idea if he is catching. And yeah, he is. So he almost 2 seconds quicker in that last lap. So he has taken a huge chunk. And now the gap is 1.9 seconds. Come on, Daly.
So if he just cut out 2 seconds a lap, white flag is out this time by.
He's going to catch him.
Difficult track to pass, but he is going to catch him. But then the problem is you can't really do what Miatas normally do, get up right behind him and suck right behind him, because then you lose all visibility.
Right.
But normally you would probably wait to come down the downhill right behind and then duck out and drag race down and use that draft. But you can't really do that here, as the leader's going to take the white flag this time by. So this got really interesting. Leave us a comment who you got, people.
Yeah, he's certainly got enough time to do it, and the pace he's on. Like I said, he did a 1:11.5 last time out. John Rodat did a 1:13.7, so he was 2 seconds, as I said, quicker. Down the hill they come then, and they'll approach the Samposi straight for the last time, take the white flag, and this should be a humdinger of a finish. Conditions outside improving, but not much on track. Here we go then.
You can see Rodat kind of coming right into the middle.
Yeah.
He's waving, so he's acknowledging the white flag. I hope he didn't think that was the checkered.
No.
Because look at that. He's right behind him. Patrick Daly's right behind him. And then there's Berger just waiting to pounce.
Yep, absolutely. He's held third place the whole time on this race, but never been able to catch up with the leaders. Here they come out of the Mission Foods complex.
Ken Agina is saying Daly's going to take it on No Name Straight. I don't know if he's there yet. I don't know if he's close enough. We'll see.
Yeah, he could possibly at the end of the Paul Newman straight here. Here we go. He's close enough, but no cigar yet. Now, I think the best chance he's got is to really get good drive downhill coming into 7 and then just trying to pip him to the line. That's all he can do. I don't think he's close enough, though. Good race, though.
Oh, yeah. Never count out anything with these Miata finishes, though.
Here we go, then. One corner to come. John Rodat takes a nice wide line, covers his bases, if you will. Here you go. That's the drive I was talking about. And here comes Daly for the win. If he's got the drive, he might just pip him. It's a drag race, and the thumbs out as they cross the line almost together. But it is going to be John Rodat ahead of Daly. Great fun. Great racing.
But man, at that last turn, Rodat got a little bit squiggly there, and I wonder if Daly had to just get off the throttle just a little bit, maybe wanting to look for the spin. But what a great finish. You know, that started out to be what we thought would happen, and then just going off there, like anything with Lime Rock Park, always kind of makes for a different finish.
Yep, and I always love it when we have a good start to the day with a good bit of racing in SVRA, and despite the conditions, they put on a show. Never easy to race in the wet.
And I have to give it up for the fans. We do, even though the conditions were terrible just 30 minutes ago, we have a lot of fans here in the rain, in their ponchos and umbrellas up on the hill. So we love coming to Lime Rock Park for the Memorial Day Classic and just being with all these great fans here.
Yeah, and as we're hearing on the internet, and Keith Romano saying, basically just one mistake is all it took. And in these conditions, you kind of almost got a guarantee to make some sort of error. It turned out to be pretty drastic for Daly, but he did a hell of a job. What was it, 5 seconds he started from behind and then got back on track, kept his cool, and went straight there. Almost got it. So, great start to the day. That was the coverage of our Group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5B, and 8. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Got underway, and as you can see, the rain was pouring down, but it actually got better, but the track conditions, not so much. Wipers were on, for those that had them. The Datsun didn't. But anyway, he pulled off quickly. But the battle was at the front between Daly and Rodat. And Rodat did a great job of leading once Daly went off. There was battles all the way through. There's the 16 of Scott Merrick. But Daly, one mistake was all it took, giving Rodat the lead. But in the final few laps, he caught right up. And in the final moments, it was almost a drag race to the line. Rodat wins then from Daly and Berger.
I love the thumbs up, though, and the camaraderie. We got a little Misty Mountain hop there in the distance, but go through our...
Yeah, just confirmation. It was a Miata Fest at the front. Rodat, Daly and Berger. Then the Mazdas, the RX-7s, were 4th and 5th with Ian Johnson and Scott Merrick. And then the Mazda Miata of Gregory Mindel. Actually, he DNF'd, and so too Sam Avery with no wipers. I think he found it a little tough. And that's how they finished here at Lime Rock. And my thanks to Ben Cecil. He'll be back again to join us. And we've got a few special guests today. And don't forget, our feature race coming up, the Trans Am race. We'll take a short break here from Lime Rock Park and our Memorial Classic. Stay with us.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.
Taking on the challenge, moving ahead. It's about going further, faster. At Customers Bank, we know that great things happen when you combine the best of technology with a deeply human touch. So we offer a wide range of personal, small business, and commercial banking solutions with outstanding personal service, giving you the edge you need to take on tomorrow.
Spot looking down the Cube 3 Architecture West Bend area, right at the back there. I hadn't realized until I went out there last year just how many people there are kind of dotted around in the woods. So always fun. And yeah, a lot of people, Keith Romano saying what a beautiful track. It really is. It's a great place to go racing. And like I said, you look at a track map and it looks relatively simple, but the hard part of Lime Rock is the fact that it is narrow. There is grass to either side, like mid-Ohio, so you've got to be careful not to put a wheel on it, especially in the wet like this, especially when you've got all that power. Every car out there this weekend has got too much power for the conditions, I would argue, but I think it will